Ever wondered how a seemingly minor conflict could derail the world's most powerful war machine? Today, we're diving deep into one of World War II's most overlooked yet pivotal theaters, the Balkan Campaign. This wasn't just a sideshow. It was a brutal, complex series of events that would have massive repercussions for the entire war, especially for Operation Barbarossa, Hitler's invasion of the Soviet Union. So buckle up as we journey back to 1940 and unravel the timeline of this explosive conflict, step by step. It all begins in the autumn of 1940. While the Battle of Britain rages in the skies over England, Italy's leader, Benito Mussolini, is itching for his own glorious victory. He wants to prove Italy's military might and expand his influence in the Mediterranean, creating a new Roman Empire. His eyes fall on Greece. On October 28, 1940, ignoring advice from his generals and even from Hitler, Mussolini issues an ultimatum to Greece. When the Greeks defiantly reject it, Italian forces pour across the border from Albania, which they had occupied a year earlier. This marks the start of the Greco-Italian War. Mussolini expected a swift victory, a military parade through Athens within weeks, but he severely underestimated the Greeks. Fighting in the treacherous Pindus Mountains, the Greek army, though smaller and less equipped, fought with incredible ferocity and skill. They didn't just halt the Italian invasion, they launched a stunning counteroffensive. By mid-November, Greek soldiers had pushed the Italians back deep into Albania, capturing key cities and inflicting humiliating defeats on Mussolini's legions. This incredible resistance was a massive morale boost for the Allies and a major embarrassment for the Axis. As winter set in, the front stabilized, but the situation was dire for Italy. Hitler was furious. Mussolini's blundering adventure had not only failed, but had also created a new front where he didn't want one. Worse, it opened the door for British intervention. The Royal Air Force began using Greek air bases, and British troops started arriving to support their new ally. For Hitler, the presence of British forces in the Balkans was an unacceptable threat to his southern flank, particularly to the vital Romanian oil fields at Ploiești, which fueled the entire German war effort. He knew he had to intervene. On December 13, 1940, Hitler issued Directive No. 20, codenamed Operation Marita. The plan was simple: a swift, overwhelming invasion of Greece to crush the resistance, expel the British, and secure the Balkans once and for all. While German forces began to assemble in Romania and Bulgaria, another key Balkan nation, Yugoslavia, was caught in the middle. The regent, Prince Paul, was under immense pressure. He tried to maintain neutrality, but the Axis powers were closing in. On March 25, 1941, hoping to avoid invasion, Prince Paul's government reluctantly signed the Tripartite Pact, officially aligning Yugoslavia with Germany, Italy, and Japan. But the Yugoslav people were fiercely independent and had strong pro-Allied sentiments. The pact was seen as a national betrayal. Just 2 days later, on March 27, 1941, a group of pro-British Serbian Air Force officers led a bloodless coup d'etat in Belgrade. They overthrew Prince Paul, declared the 17-year-old King Peter II of age, and renounced the pact. Crowds in Belgrade celebrated, chanting, "Better war than the pact, better grave than a slave." This act of defiance sealed Yugoslavia's fate. An enraged Hitler, seeing this as a personal insult and a direct challenge, immediately ordered his generals to expand Operation Marita. Now, Yugoslavia would be crushed alongside Greece. The storm breaks on April 6, 1941. In a devastating blitz, the Luftwaffe launches Operation Punishment, a relentless bombing campaign against Belgrade. Simultaneously, German, Italian, and Hungarian armies invade Yugoslavia from all sides. The Royal Yugoslav Army, caught off guard, poorly equipped, and torn by internal ethnic divisions, was no match for the Wehrmacht's coordinated assault. The country collapsed with shocking speed. Within just 11 days, on April 17th, Yugoslavia unconditionally surrendered. The nation was carved up and occupied by Germany, Italy, Hungary, and Bulgaria. The swiftness of the Yugoslav collapse was a terrifying demonstration of the power of blitzkrieg. With Yugoslavia subdued, the full force of the German 12th Army, commanded by Field Marshal Wilhelm List, turned south into Greece. They attacked through two main corridors. One group pushed down from Yugoslavia, outflanking the main Greek forces still fighting in Albania, while another, more powerful force, smashed through the Metaxas line, a series of fortifications along the Greek-Bulgarian border. The combined Greek and British Commonwealth forces, known as W Force, were vastly outnumbered and outgunned. Despite pockets of brave resistance, particularly at the famous Battle of Thermopylae, they were forced into a fighting retreat. The situation became untenable. On April 21st, the main Greek army in Epirus, surrounded and exhausted, surrendered. The British command realized the battle was lost and initiated a desperate evacuation, codenamed Operation Demon. Between April 24th and April 30th, the Royal Navy managed to evacuate over 50,000 Allied soldiers from the beaches of mainland Greece, often under heavy air attack. It was a Dunkirk in miniature. On April 27th, German tanks rolled into Athens, and the swastika was raised over the Acropolis, a symbolic and devastating moment for the free world. The campaign on the Greek mainland was over, but the fight for the Balkans wasn't finished. The last act took place on the island of Crete. This strategically vital island was seen by the Allies as a crucial naval and air base to control the eastern Mediterranean. For the Germans, capturing it was essential to secure their southern flank completely. On May 20, 1941, Germany launched Operation Mercury, the first large-scale airborne invasion in history. Thousands of elite German paratroopers, the Fallschirmjäger, descended from the sky. The Allied defenders, a mix of British, Australian, New Zealand, and Greek troops, put up a ferocious fight. The battle for Crete was incredibly bloody. The German paratroopers suffered staggering casualties, so much so that Hitler would never again authorize a major airborne operation. However, through sheer determination and the eventual arrival of mountain troops by sea, the Germans managed to capture key airfields, turning the tide of the battle. After 12 days of brutal fighting, the Allies were once again forced to evacuate. By June 1st, Crete was under German control. The Balkan campaign was finally over. The Axis was triumphant, having conquered two nations in less than 2 months. But what was the cost? The invasion of Yugoslavia and Greece had delayed the start of Operation Barbarossa, the invasion of the Soviet Union, by several crucial weeks. Historians still debate the exact impact, but many argue this delay pushed the German advance into the brutal Russian winter, a factor that proved catastrophic for the Wehrmacht outside the gates of Moscow. The brave, defiant resistance of the Greeks and Yugoslavs, though ultimately crushed, may have changed the entire course of World War II. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the Balkan campaign. It's a complex and often forgotten chapter of the war, but one that deserves to be remembered. If you found this interesting, please hit that like button, subscribe for more hidden histories, and let me know in the comments what piece of history you'd like to explore next. See you in the next video.